Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to Dr. Andi Fitria and everyone who's watching. We are from Section 1, Group 4. My name is Shamis Ad bin Mahadze, metric number 2221443, alongside with my group mate Liza Hakim bin Muhammad Hafiz 2224891 and Liza Farhan bin Rosnizam 2222619. We're presenting about our project on DDoS attack detection using Splunks. This project focuses on how we can use industry standard like SIEM tools, SIEM, to protect public-facing web servers from modern network threats. Now, let's continue to the summary of scenario. In the current cybersecurity landscape, public web servers are under constant threat because of they are always connected to the internet and serve as the primary point of contact for users. The scenario we're addressing today involves web servers that suddenly become unresponsive or laggy to a massive distributed distributed spike in the traffic. This is essence of a distributed denial of service, also known as DDoS attack, using a sheer volume from multiple sources to overwhelm a target until it can no longer serve as legitimate users. In our project, we stimulate two very specific and dangerous attack behavior. First is the sync flight. This is a low-level protocol attack where the attacker sends thousands of sync requests but intentionally never completes the TCP three-way handshake. This leaves the server resource hanging in a half-open state, eventually filling up the connection bit table so the new real user are blocked out. Second is the HTTP GET flight, which targets the application layer. Here, the attacker sends a relentless stream of requests for web page or data, forcing the server CPU and memory to work at maximum capacity until the application crashes under the load. To identify to identify this pattern, we didn't just look at one log source. We integrated three. We utilized web server logs to track source IP behavior, firewall logs to see what traffic was being allowed through, and net flow traffic log to monitor the overall bandwidth intensity. By centralizing all of this into Splunk 3, we can use search processing language or SPL to correlate these different sources. Our main objective is to prove that through centralized log analysis, we can detect this sneaky pattern in real time and act as fast enough to mitigate the impact before the server goes down completely. Now that we understand the threat, I will walk you through the technical foundation of our project, the Splunk setups. For our environment, we choose to download and install Splunk Enterprise on Windows operating system. Although we are using the free version to provide full power of Splunk search engine, which is the industry standard for security analysts. During the installation, we establish a secure administration account, a critical step in any security deployment to ensure that only authorized personnel can manage login gestation and create correlation rule. Once installed, we access the Splunk web interface through our local host port 80,000. The most vital part of the setup is the log ingestion. We are we begin by selecting the upload option to bring our dataset DDoS dataset.csv into our system. However, simply re-uploading a file isn't enough for a SIM to work effectively. We had to meticulously configure the source type as CSV file to ensure Splunk recognizes the structure of the data. This allows systems to automatically identify key headers such as source IP, destination port, and packet size, which are the primary variables we use later for our detection queries. Finally, we configure the input settings and establish a dedicated index for our project. In real-world security operating center, indexing is essential because it allows us to isolate specific data stream, making search faster and more efficient. When responding to an active incident, we also had to be mindful of our operational constraint. because Flunk Free license has a 500 megabytes daily ingestion limit. By carefully managing our index and ensuring our field extraction were accurate from the start, we built a robust environment capable of analyzing over 37,000 attacks events without exceeding our resource limit. With our technical foundation now ready, we'll hand it the dashboard presentation to our brother.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nizam Farhan Mirus Nizam and my metric number is 2222619. So in this slide shows our attack monitoring dashboard that we built using Splunk Free. All the data displayed here comes from the ingested DDoS dataset that we found online and is analyzed in real time within a single centralized view. At a glass at a glance, we can immediately see that there is abnormal network behavior, including a very high number of DDoS-related events, sudden traffic spikes, and activity coming from multiple source IP addresses. This confirms that the issue is not a normal traffic surge, but a coordinate distributed attack. The purpose of this dashboard is to help security analysts quickly detect, verify, and prioritize incidents without manually checking raw logs. Instead of reacting after the server goes down, this dashboard allows us to identify the attack early, understand its scale, and also begin investigation immediately. In the next slides, I will explain how each visualization was built using SPL queries and how we use them to detect and confirm the DDoS attack. For our first dashboard panel, we want to know the total attack volume. By using this query, we filter only for the DDoS PSH ACK, which acknowledge label. As you can see, the result is 37,800. This is a huge number. This metric tells the SOC team that we are not just having a small connection issue, but a massive coordinated flood is hitting our network right now. We use a single value visualization so the admin can see the danger immediately in red color. Next, we move to total bandwidth intensity. Sometimes looking at bytes is confusing, so we use eval in our queries to change it to Mbps because that is how we measure internet speed in Malaysia. We multiply by 8 and divide by 1 million. This panel is very important because if the Mbps is higher than our bandwidth limit, our whole company internet will become hang. It helps us decide if we need to call our ISP to watch the traffic upstream. Now we want to find out who caused the trouble. This query identifies our top 10 attackers. We sum the total bytes for every source IP and sort them from the biggest to the smallest. In From here, we can get the specific IP addresses of the botnet nodes. We can just copy these IPs and block them at our firewall immediately to reduce the server load. Next is packet size distribution. Normal traffic usually has many different sizes, but as you can see from this chart, the attack traffic is all concentrated at exactly 54 bytes. This is the smoking gun that proves this is a botnet attack. Real humans don't send 30,000 packets with the exact same size. By knowing this 54 byte signature, we can create a very smart firewall rule to drop these packets without affecting our real customers. From this query, we can know how many bots are attacking us. We use DC also called distinct count to track the number of unique attackers every minute. If you look at the time chart, the line goes up like a rocket at 8:18 p.m. This shows the botnet activation. Within just a few minutes, hundreds of new IPs started hitting our server. This tells us that the attacker is using a very large and distributed network to try and take us down. Next is query on packet count versus bytes. So to see the behavior more clearly, we use a scatter plot. We plot packets against bytes. Notice how the binning traffic is all scattered everywhere. That's normal, but the attack traffic forms a perfect straight line. This cluster shows that the attack is very mechanical and repetitive. As a SOC analyst, this visual makes it very easy to spot the anomaly without needing to read every line of the log. Next is source to port concentration. So basically, where is the attack going? This query maps the source IP to the destination port. We found that all the top attackers are hitting port 8000. This is very specific. It means the attacker already did reconnaissance and found that our application is running on that port. By knowing that only port 8000 is under attack, we can focus our defense there and keep our other services like email or DNS running as usual. Lastly is repetitive flow detection, or also we call as script catcher. We look for any IP that sends the exact same packet count and frame length more than 50 times. A normal user won't do the same things 50 times in a row. When the session count is high, we are very sure it's a script. We use this query for our alerting logic. If any IP hits this threshold, Splunk will trigger an alarm so we can kick that bot out of network immediately.
So we move on to our next part, which is the detection of the incident. So for the incident overview and scale. So for this incident, we used to use Splunk Free as our centralized log analysis platform. So all logs from the web server, firewall, and network traffic were collected into the Splunk and allow us to analyze everything from a single source. So this made uh, our group easier to correlate with events and detect the abnormal behavior across the network. From the analysis, the system identify a total of 37 and 800,000 DDoS push arc events, which is indicates a large scale of attack, which is we also observe a sudden and sharp spike in traffic starting at exactly at 20, 18, and 50 seconds. So this spike was significantly different from the normal or benign traffic pattern, which triggered the detection of the incident. So the next is identify the smoking gun, which is the attack signatures. By analyzing the label field in the logs, so we confirm that the attack type was a TCP push-up flood. So this type of attack is designed to overwhelm the server's CPU by forcing it to process a large number of TCP packets. So one key observation was the unusual uniformity of the attack traffic. All malicious packets had a fixed size of 54 bytes with a standard deviation of 0. So this is not normal for legitimate web traffic, which usually has very varying packet size. This consistent, so this consistent, the packet pattern clearly indicate an automated behavior, which is it is likely generated by a botnet rather than real users accessing the website. For the target analysis, for further analysis show that all the malicious traffic was focused and concentrated on a single destination IP address, which is 192.168.23.2. So this confirmed that the attack was highly targeted rather than random attacks. So additionally, next is the attackers specifically target the port 8000, which is the entry point of the web application. So by flooding this port, by attacking this port, the attackers aim to make the web service unresponsive and deny access to legitimate users. So it will. So for the conclusion part, we got that the push act flood attack was successfully detected using Splunk, and even though this type of attack can be difficult to differentiate from normal traffic spike, by analyze the multiple log source together, and we are able to clearly identify the abnormal patterns and that indicate the coordinated DDoS attack rather than legitimate user activity. So for the lesson then, one key lesson that we got from this project is uh, that automated attack often leave behind a clear digital fingerprint. So in this case, the consistent 54-byte packet size made it much easier to distinguish the malicious traffic from normal web traffic. Once such patterns are identified, they can be used to create the effective filtering and blocking rules. For the final takeaway, so overall, Splunk proves to be a powerful and effective tool for cybersecurity analysis. So when it comes to detecting and analyzing security incident, Splunk will be a powerful and effective tool. However, it also require a significant system source, meaning proper hardware planning, which is this planning is important to ensure the optimal performance of this Splunk.